There's a wee football team that I makes its mark. They've won all the honours in footballing art. There's no other team to compare with a heart.
Good afternoon, Jambos, and a massive thank you for tuning in to Over the Maroon podcast, episode 1, for the fans, by the fans. Your hosts today are myself, Lee.
Me, Thomas.
And me, Rory.
Thank you, guys.
No worries.
First of all, we wanted to let you know why we've started Over the Maroon. And to get started, it's a bit about myself, and then we'll go into the other guys. So my background, since I remember, my life has revolved around Hearts, much to my wife and my family's dismay. And growing up in Edinburgh during the 90s, football was really the only other option for me. And at 5-year-old, Hearts had just won the Scottish Cup, and that was time for me to pack my bags and go to school. And my dad, he was a very proud Hearts fan. He kitted me from top to bottom with Hearts gear, full tracksuit, full strip, hats, water bottles, shin pads, you name it, it all had Hearts on it. And my primary school weren't very pleased with that at all, let's be serious. At primary school, it held less Hearts and Hibs fans than I could count on my fingers. And that's a school in Edinburgh, which was quite a shock to me. Predominantly, it was Celtic and Rangers fans in my school. And it's crazy because we weren't in Glasgow, we were in Edinburgh. But gone are the days where you could roll up to school with football colours on. And I remember my first Hearts match like it was yesterday. It was incredible. I remember the feeling so well, the smell of the brewery. As much as you talk about it, it brings back that memory so vivid. And walking along the cobbled roads, and I recall going through the turnstiles for the first time and up those stairs and looking out onto that pitch. It just grabbed me. Hearts grabbed me. I was addicted at that point. I loved the tenacity, the aggression, the noise, singing, all of it. But now I live in North Yorkshire in Harrogate. It's lovely down here, but I don't have the opportunity to go to the games as much as I would like to. And all the lads around here are addicted to Leeds United. So, but I still watch every game. I listen to all the interviews as if I was still a 11-year-old, and I love it. But the communication on Twitter just isn't enough for me. So I reached out to Thomas and Rory, two lads I'd met on Instagram who also have a deep relationship with Hearts. And they got involved in a few of my raffles. We started talking, so I planted the seed. And here we are, 3 strangers who want to connect with fellow Hearts fans and give our take on the matches and everything that goes along with being a Hearts fan. And in the next few weeks, we'll be inviting fellow fans onto the pod to talk about Heart on the Building, give match day reviews, talk about what's going on at the club, and speak about our favourite moments. Finally, we'll talk about football shirts. I also have a few very special guests in the pipeline for the next few episodes too, which I'm sure you'll all appreciate very, very much. So that's enough from me, guys, for now. Let's have some background from Thomas and then Rory.
Yeah, so myself, some people may be able to relate to it, but for me, growing up in Belfast, especially, you were either one or the other, the old firm. Never had the opportunity to kind of support anyone else. It was, you had to support either or them. Me being different, I decided to, no, I don't want to conform to that. So I obviously, with my family's military background, and I knew what the likes of Hearts done for, obviously, the club and the past, you know, like the never forgotten the fallen. For me, that was very special, and one of the main reasons why I started following Hearts. And yeah, so from that, I've took the stick from both old firms, and yeah, I went. I always feel that having something special that you can relate to like that, it gives you more an in-depth love for the club. The likes of the old firm, I don't think that they do. They don't have that connection. The likes of I've related to Hearts and I fell in love with them. So for me, being young and following that, the love for it's just got bigger and bigger. I'm a season ticket holder. I go over maybe 2-3 times a month, as much as I can, obviously post or pre-COVID. But yeah, it's for me, I'm being over in Belfast and having this love and finding out the many people over here that do also share that love for Hearts. It's it's incredible, and one reason obviously why we're doing this as well, to branch out to those other people like me that maybe don't live in Scotland, but follow Hearts with the same intensity that we all do. And yeah, that's kind of my background.
That's brilliant. Nice, Thomas. Lovely. And shall we go into Rory? Let's hear about your background.
Perfect. Can I just say, Lee and Thomas, what a wonderful start to the podcast. If I wasn't on it, I'd definitely be listening. That was you've set the bar very high.
Right.
Lifelong Hearts fan as well. I'm from East Lothian, so just stay outside Edinburgh. And Hearts have been in my family, really. That's where I got it from. My granddad was a season ticket holder, Hearts 500 member. All his life, started taking me to Tynecastle when I was 4, so I never really had any other choice, to be honest.
No.
Not that I wanted one, not that I wanted another choice, because as painful as it can be at times, there's something beautiful and romantic and sentimental about being a Hearts fan that I just think that other clubs, as sort of Thomas and Lee touched on, don't quite have the affection that we've got. So yeah, I've spent 16 years as a season ticket holder, worked away for a couple of years, got my season ticket back, been to all the big games, and I was lucky enough to actually work for Hearts last year as well, so got a bit of behind the scenes view of the club, which has slightly changed my opinion on things, but I'm currently not employed by Heart of Midlothian Football Club, so anything that I say is absolutely fine. But I've got like I said, met you two guys online, passion for old kits, nostalgia, old players, memorabilia, stories. Really, especially in these times when we can't be at Tynecastle, I'm really excited about talking about memories and getting that passion burning, and until we can go back to the famous Tynecastle Park.
Yeah.
Hopefully a matter of months.
Hope so, man. Hope so.
Until sadly I was never happy. I needed so much more. Rain clouds over the used to chase me.
Lovely, right? Nice stuff, guys. A few bits to pick up on there. Thomas, with you living in Belfast, how many times do you manage to get across to Tynecastle then?
With me, obviously not being a season ticket now because of all this COVID, but I would have been over 2 to 3 times a month. Basically, because
expensive hobby.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, thankfully, it wasn't too bad. To be fair, the flight prices were okay for a while there. So getting over, it was cheaper to go over there every month than it was to go to a holiday in Benidorm. So for me, it was always great. When I go over, it definitely is a second home for me. Nothing can beat it. I'm getting tingles anytime I talk about trying to get over.
So Thomas, just quickly, what does your sort of match day look like then if you're coming over? What's your sort of, do you come over in the morning of the game or?
Yeah, so I would usually fly out early that morning, basically so I can just get set up in the hotels and stuff, put my bags in and then go for something to eat, and then go to the bar really. Before a game, that's usually what I do. Obviously, if it's by myself, that's my routine I would always follow. If I'm bringing the likes of my partner or a couple of friends, obviously that would differ. But yeah, for me, I always go to Tynecastle Arms. I'm a Tynecastle Arms.
That's me as
guy.
well, man.
Yeah. Any match day, I feel like if I don't go to the Tynecastle Arms, the result isn't going to go our way. And usually my record's decent for going over the games. Obviously the most recent ones were the likes of obviously this time last year when we beat Rangers 2-1. In Boise, scored the winner on that day. It was just epic. But yeah, my my day's just in that. And after the game, again, just go to the bar, have a chat with the lads. I don't necessarily know a lot of people over there, but when I'm there, because that's why I love it as well, you don't have to know the people. I go and I have hours discussions with randomers that I don't know, but just because of the love of the club, they're open up, they talk to you, they're friendly, and that's just what I love about our club.
Yeah, man, I agree. Thomas,
Yes.
you won't need hotels anymore, buddy. You're more than welcome at mine.
Well, thank you. That's good to know.
Absolutely, and I think that's epitomizes Heart of Midlothian and sections of its support, is where you do have people that will come up and that will want to know your background, will want to know how long you've been going to the matches, they want to know when your last match was, what you think the score prediction is going to be today, all of those things. And we've all got so much things in common, mutalities from Heart of Midlothian. And it's not just going to the matches, it's everything that comes with being a Hearts fan.
Yeah.
You've got, obviously, you mentioned the fallen heroes. You've got the connection straight away there. The people that go to the McRae's battalion.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the pub, and well, I don't know about you guys, but I go to the pub down here in Yorkshire, and the guys say to me, "Are you Celtic or Rangers?" And I'm like, "Are you for real? Like, can't you tell that I'm not Glaswegian?" I was like, "How much more broad Edinburgh do I need to speak?"
Yeah.
But I served ex-Manchester City in England right back Micah Richards.
Oh, name drop.
Weeks ago.
That's it.
First name drop.
And yeah, it was always going to be me. I served him and sold him a nice package. And basically, he, as soon as he heard my voice, was Celtic or Rangers. And I was like, actually, buddy, I know how much you love Manchester City. So I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
Well, I am a Liverpool fan. You know that. But
yeah.
Obviously, I'm a diehard Hearts fan. And I was like, nah, mate, I'm a Liverpool and Heart of Midlothian. And he looked at me and he was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. And I kind of felt like undermined. Not from him. No, it's not a direct hit at him. I didn't feel undermined by him. I felt undermined by the way of thinking. Just because you hear a Scottish accent at Celtic or Rangers. And I don't know about you guys, but I am fed up of that.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of that. Especially with living down here. It's always the first or second question, Where are you from? Oh, you must be this. No, actually, I'm going to break that mold. I'm going to break that discrimination. I'm a Hearts fan and I'm proud.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I get that a lot. When you go over to Belfast, it's a bit like going into Glasgow, and it's either you're one or the other.
Yep.
And the most recent one is when we were in the bar, when we were playing Rangers in the Cup. I went to a Rangers bar and was the only Hearts fan there when we beat them. And it was great for me because it was cheering. Luckily, I knew people. So they didn't go, you'll find me at the back. But yeah, it's the perception that you're talking about is, again, we have it over here. Maybe not the certain extent with you when they hear a Scottish accent, they're like, oh, which one of the old firm? But yeah, we still have that. My household as well is very weird where I'm Hearts. The partner is she's Celtic and her son is actually Rangers. So it's always fun for match day in our house.
Family affair.
Yeah,
wow.
It is. More or less with them because obviously they play each other at the minute a lot more than we would play them. But it's always fun when we're in the Premiership when we're playing them. It's always a fun day. The banter's always flowing.
That's awesome. But it must be such good energy in the household when it is the likes of Hearts against Celtic or Hearts against Rangers, and you do get one up over them.
Oh, well, yeah. Obviously, the most notable is when, although we didn't win the game, when we played Celtic there in the final.
Yeah.
The amount of times that the people were in my face going, ha ha ha, we're up. I said, look, it's not over. It's not over. We're Hearts. We'll come back. Obviously, we did come back and, we lost it in penalties, but the camaraderie and that's why I love football. It doesn't matter when it comes to game day. It doesn't matter who you are, what religion you are. You always down for the banter, and it's always great in our household with that kind of demographic of teams supported.
I don't think that I could put up with it. However, I'm gonna give you my appraisal for that. Yeah. That's fantastic. If my wife supported any team, thankfully she doesn't. I'm a nervous wreck as it is, and I'm always worried that, if my team do get beat, that I'm going to receive that text message from that opponent saying, haha, in your face kind of thing. I hate that. I really do. It's so petty. I love giving it. Yeah. I love giving it out. Don't get me wrong, but I can't take it. I just cannot.
No, so I do give it out as well. I expect it to get some kind of reaction. So if I take it, they have to do the exact same when it comes to us beating them, and so it is good.
Well, I'm hoping that for the future that you have more over them than they do for you.
Yeah, so do I.
So yes, Rory, what is a typical trip to Tynecastle entail for you then?
Very similar to what most would say, I think. I go on the Trent Hearts supporters bus, so I'll go to my local and just drink a lot to to sort of soften the misery of what's about to happen. Just to numb the blow, and that's before you even get on the bus. Now go there quickly into the Tynecastle Arms, and then straight in. As Thomas says, I've probably chatted to you in there, Thomas. You seem like a
you probably cross paths.
You seem like a very hospitable guy, the kind of guy I would chat to. But that's my match days, and then back to the local afterwards. And with being in East Lothian, and my local is very Hearts, Hibs, Rangers, Celtic. So you've got to go in there and you've got to hold your head up high and just take the banter no matter what happens. Win, lose or draw, you've got to go in and take it. So that's it. But that's what adds to the banter. You go in when you get beat, and it allows you to have the days when you win. But that's my days.
I feel
yes, man.
Rory, and I'm not sure about you, Thomas, but see, as soon as I get such a dejected feeling when I lose a match, even if it's my under 8s that I'm coaching on a weekend, if I feel that we deserve to win and we do get beat, I have this overwhelming sense of just disbelief. I kind of lock myself away and I have to analyze what went wrong, why did it go wrong, what can I do to make it better, and it's like a trait that I hold. And if I do go to the matches and I do watch the match and we do end up on the bad side, a loss or a draw, I find myself just reflecting. However, on a win, I do not care how we won it. If it's one of those Daniel Stendhal, long balls from the back and a header into the net, I don't mind how we win as long as we win.
Yeah.
I don't even analyze a match that we've won. So doing this podcast, funny, analysing matches that we've won. We're not going to do that this week. But here's hoping for next week.
Yeah, definitely.
So a normal trip up to Tynecastle for me would basically entail me taking the train up about an hour and 45 to 2 hours. I would take a carry out on the train, maybe six to 12 cans, have a few cans on the way, get there, meet up with some family and friends. We were known as the Broomy Hearts because we were from Broomhouse predominantly and the Sighthill area, and we would all go to the matches together, me, my cousins, uncles. It was a family thing. It's very family orientated, and we would go to the pub beforehand, have a couple of games of pool. We would normally go to the Shandon.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that. It's got nice pool tables and snooker tables. We'd get in there, have a little sing-song before the match, go to the match, and we would sit in section G lower. I love Section G so much. Like, for passion, energy, all of those nitty gritty feelings that you want in a football match, where you're so close to the opponent. There's no better than Section G lore, not in my opinion. The amount of times where I've ended up, because we normally sit in like row 8 or 9, that I've ended up either on the rails at the front of the pitch or like down at the bottom, collapsed, because we've scored a goal in the 90th minute against a team and we've just celebrated. There's just been limps, and I live for that. I really, really do. That's one thing I miss in being part of football, through celebrating a goal. Through my dodgy celebrations, honestly, it takes me back. It really does. But my last game, subsequently, was the semi-final at Hampden against Inverness, which was a long time ago.
Yeah. I was there myself with actually my Inverness friend. He's from over here, and he supports Inverness.
Wow.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, he's from Belfast. It's the only.
That's a weird
he's
one.
known over in Inverness as the Belfast boy, because he's the only
Okay.
one that they know from Belfast that support him.
Magic. Oh, that's good. No, but yes, that was my last game, and it seems like a very long time ago. I mean, we had planned to go up pre-COVID, and sadly, I've just been hectic with work, and I have a slight excuse. I am quite far away, and when you are underperforming, it just seems that little bit harder getting that motivation to head up the road to watch Hearts against. Well, I don't know. Back then it was Hearts against Motherwell or Hearts against Kilmarnock, and it just was not as easy as I would have wanted it to be. However, now that I've not been for so long, I'm so eager to get back up to Tynecastle, and at the first opportunity, I'll be there, and I'm sure you two will be accompanying me. We'll be going to the pub beforehand. Thomas won't need a hotel. We'll find somewhere to shack up, and we'll.
Looking forward to
really
it, lads.
out,
I'm going to
guys,
start drinking now in preparation.
I think you'll need to, mate. Right. So, shall we get going then, boys?
Yeah, go into the game.
Right.
Now that I found you, now that I found you, I won't let go. Let my love surround you. Now that I found you, I can lay down with my ghost.
What happened yesterday?
Where do we start?
Wow. Yeah.
First of all, what did we think?
I was confident before it when I seen the lineup. I must say I didn't think. I thought we were maybe 2 players away from the strongest lineup. So I was confident before the game. Yeah, definitely.
That's the word, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think maybe apart from Ginelli starting and possibly Christoph at the back, I think that was pretty much the strongest team. So I was confident going into the game, and as it transpired, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Thomas?
Yeah, I'm the exact.
What did you think?
I'm the exact same. I beforehand had a high belief that we were going to go out there scoring 4 more goals. And it would not that it would be a walkover for us, that it would be so easy, but I at least thought that we'd have more fight than we evidently did. For me, it was. I'm still in disbelief, if that's the right word for saying, because we shouldn't have went out there and got beat. As I said, the lineup was that strong. You would like to think when we're in the Premier League that team is going to go and win us a lot of games. So to go there yesterday and to get beat with that team, it just shocked me. I'm obviously disappointed in the result, but I'm still in disbelief with it, to be quite fair.
To pick up on your points there, both Rory and Thomas, disbelief and shock are the words that are going to be used by many Hearts fans. But I would say the minority of Hearts fans that know this team really, really well won't be in disbelief or shock, because this season we've conceded 17 goals in 12 matches.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is not a cause for concern, I don't know what is. it points to the defence, but then who are playing in front of the defence? You've got midfield. The midfield doing their job. Are they helping the defence? There's so many questions. But overall, how do you think they played?
Not well. Again, you said about 17 goals in 12 games, and there was going to come a time where we were going to stop winning games because we were conceding 2 and 3. We were scoring 4, but there was going to be a point where that dried up. And I mean, I know we got goals yesterday in the end, but you can't concede 3 goals at home. Do you know what I mean? So,
no, and that's the second defeat in 3 games as well. 3 league games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot went wrong yesterday. A lot, and people that watched the match on Hearts TV or wherever they watched it are going to look and they're going to point fingers at suspects of which played the match, and they're also going to point at the referee. Now, once upon a time, I would have pointed at the referee, but the referees made decisions because the defenders have not done their job. And, they could have been 4-0 up.
Yep, easy.
Rafe could have been 4-0 up. It could have been a lot worse. And we're in disbelief and shock at 3-1. Sorry, 3-2. It's 3-2, wasn't it? But I think that they didn't start playing until the 55th, 56th minute. They were terrible. All over the park. They were dejected. They weren't united. There was no communication. And I think the people that are going to point the fingers are going to point at Christoph Berra's. They've got to point at Andy Halliday's. They've got to point at Jamie Walker's. And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair at all. Because for you to point at Christoph Berra, you have to point at Craig Gordon, who had a fantastic match. You have to, I think, on that viewing with Kingsley and Smith getting new contracts, they have to take a lot of that blame too.
Yeah, well, for me, I hate doing it because I love Michael Smith. Like, obviously, being from Northern Ireland as well, it's that connection. But personally, I thought that's obviously not a bad criticism. Anyone that was playing there is going to get a bad criticism. But I thought, for me, it was one of the worst I've seen him play. And it wasn't that, I'm being really harsh on him. It was just, usually he's one of the ones that's the catalyst in the squad.
Dependable.
Very dependable. And for me, obviously, I always criticize the Northern Ireland players a lot more than I would anyone else. But for me, I was just disheartened because usually he's up there in my I'm giving him an 8 every game, or thereabouts. For me, it's that. Obviously with Holiday as well. I'm one of these. I'm waiting for him to start playing for us. I want to see it. Yeah, he's had bits and bobs, but I'm waiting to see the Andy Halliday that we've obviously seen before, and we want to obviously continue in our shirt and our colours to give the same kind of passion that he has previously. Obviously it is going to be put down as finger pointing, but for me, I think he leads to do a lot better because in that middle, we need something, and he needs to show up really. If we were to go on,
I think it also points to the fact of how much we are missing a fit, physical Peter Heron.
Yeah,
and when you look at the lineup yesterday, and you did see that Halliday and Irving were in there, it gives enough confidence knowing that you're in Division 1 and you think that they could do the job well. If you then look at them playing in the SPFL against even Ross County or Hamilton, playing the way they did, they wouldn't have stood a chance. Rafe played to our disadvantages. They worked the ball so well offensively, making so much space in between the centre of the park, where Halliday just wasn't strong enough, not aggressive enough, like you said. And I hate pointing the fingers, but there was a hole in the team yesterday because certain players went missing. I didn't think that Berra did too bad, actually. Obviously, he got his injury, but I thought that he played okay. Okay's never passed marks, really, but there has to be some sort of communication between Gordon, Halkett, and Berra, which obviously just now is not happening, because for each of the most offensive attacks that Rafe had, they all could have been denied opportunities at goal there if they worked as a unit. And I feel like they didn't. And I think it was the third Rafe goal where Halkett came out as centre back and right back to chase the ball down and ended up not putting a challenge in. Their player who was using both feet at the time, I'm unsure who it was for Rafe, but he was excellent the whole game. Brought the ball into the box. He was then brought down. And you think to yourself, well, they've just got a penalty for that. People are complaining that they've got a penalty, but actually, the ball should have been put out of play, or at least fouled outside the box. Halkett did not do his job there, and he's not going to receive the criticism that Berra will be, or the likes of Halliday. And I feel like I don't think there was anyone on that pitch that deserved a rating of over 6 out of 10.
Do you think?
No way.
Do you think the three of them trust each other, Berra, Halkett, and Gordon? I just don't feel like they trust that. For some reason, I just don't feel like they trust each other, which is strange.
I don't think they've got any excuse. They've got Robbie Nielsen was a fantastic right back in his day, wasn't he? And on the training field, you know, they must be working on it over and over again. You've got Scotland's former number one goalkeeper there, who's arguably one of our best ever goalkeepers in goals, and quite frankly, he's been exceptional since joining from Celtic. He's been unreal, but he's been made to work, and he shouldn't be made to work, and he's not used to being made to work, because in that Celtic team, you know, when he did play, they didn't have to defend too much, and I feel like we're putting him under so much pressure unnecessarily, and I think with all three of them being Scottish, it works to their advantage. You know, there's no miscommunication with regards to I don't understand you because you don't speak Scottish as your first language kind of thing. They've all played together enough times to be able to be confident in each other's ability and to be able to know each other like the back of their hand. But going forward with the ball was a big thing that I was surprised about. I don't think until Giannelli came on.
Why is he on the bench? Is he still not fit?
I think he's not match fit yet. But I've not seen enough from Freer to say whether he's going to be hit or miss yet.
I've seen enough, Lee.
I knew you were going to get a giggle. I knew there was going to be a giggle. I've watched every game, mind you, but in the games, he's scoring goals in that position. And for me, if you're scoring goals in that position, you're doing something right. And you know, maybe creation, he's not creating enough. Maybe he's not doing enough off the ball, but he won't be in the starting lineup when Giannelli is fit. Giannelli came on, made such a difference, and I feel like there was belief in the team when he came on, but they just weren't working the balls in the right direction or in the right positions. And when they did find themselves in the right directions, they were playing sideward balls or backward balls. And Naismith, he kept on asking the players to move the ball forward and quicker, and you could see it. He was getting really irritated about that. And when we did move the ball forward, Boyce got his goals. And we obviously hit the frame of the goal a few times, but that game in the first half could have been put to bed, should have been put to bed by Rafe, and we would have a very different podcast today. So I was uninspired by the performance yesterday, even though we could have came back and nipped a point. But those that are pointing the finger at the referees, Robbie Nielsen ain't helping himself. You know, he got sent off after the final whistle there yesterday. He's not helping himself. He's putting the team under a vast amount of pressure by having digs at this, you know, at the association, and they've never been lenient to Hearts. They never will be. They're never going to give us penalties that aren't supposed to be penalties. You know, maybe with other teams they might get that luck of the game, but not.
I flip it around and have a crowd give me the chance. I've done it all, man, but in actuality I haven't yet. Where am I supposed to go from here? Okay, really I have no idea. All I know is every time I think I hit my ceiling,
I know we said about finger pointing and not finger pointing, but I'm going to finger point at Andy Halliday. He just does not offer enough in that centre midfield. He's not good enough on the ball. He always takes the easy pass. I don't know. I can see his passion, but I genuinely don't think he's got the ability. Like, I think he got away with it at Rangers for a long time. We've been a fan, and I just don't see it at all. Like, Thomas said that we're waiting for him to arrive. I don't know if he will.
Guess his age. Go on. Guess Andy Halliday's age. If you might know his age, but if you don't know who, like,
I get it?
Right. Okay. What about you, Thomas? I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. Thomas,
I was thinking the same. I was thinking that he's not obviously as old as we think he is, so I was going to go around about the same, 28, 29.
So he's 29-year-old, and I'm surprised. I know he's not played a lot of football, and that works to his favour in this argument. But that's 2 years older than me, and I think I think I could get rid of the pitch better than him. I don't think I can at all. I cannot. I would not be able to, and I cannot. However, he's 29, and
he plays like he's 33.
And I've seen other people. Yeah. Well, I thought that's it. I thought he is mature, experienced, and blah, blah, blah. But no, there's not enough there that shows me that he is an experienced player at all. If anything, Andy Irving, when he's came on as a substitute or when he started, he looks like the best player on the park for us, without a shadow of a doubt.
As a centre midfielder, you've got to have the confidence to get on the ball and make things happen, especially at this level. I mean, even Charlie Adam does it at Dundee, drops deep, gets on the ball. Andy Irving does it for us.
Yeah.
Some of our best players have done it. Paul Hartley comes deep, picks up the ball, drives the team forward. We've not got anyone driving for that centre midfield. If they do get on the ball, Andy Halliday just knocks it easy every time. Never has the confidence to take a touch and go forward and drive the team. That's where it should come from, the centre midfield.
I feel like with it obviously being the January window too, and obviously we've got some exciting news about the striker, but we do need to look at the centre midfield position. I know that we've just let Ollie Lee go, and there's been some issues with transfer announced, such as loans of one of our most promising players, of Harry Cochrane, and the permanent transfer of another really exciting player that was Anthony McDonald. But Peter Heron, Halliday, and Irving are all pretty similar type players. Apart from Irving, where he can bring the ball forward and does have an eye for goal, they don't take on too many players. They don't take the ball for a run. They don't. The creativity is only there with Irving, I think, and I feel like we do need someone to complement him. And just now, at the moment, I don't.
No, I don't. Definitely agree.
And I think during pre-season we had Jamie Walker playing centre attack midfield, and during pre-season he looked on fire. He looked really, really good, and people were thinking this is going to be his season where he gets the fans back on his side. And I was wishing that myself. Really hopeful for that. I don't understand why we played him in such a prominent position during pre-season and are not capitalising on that now. He could have been the answer yesterday. Maybe I'm talking bollock, maybe not. But he's different to Halliday and he's different to Heron. And surely that must be on.
What's happened to Harry Cochrane?
Is he not back off loan though, isn't he? He just came back off loan.
Yeah,
they've ended his loan.
Yeah, they ended it. He's got to be. I mean, if what we've seen a few years ago was anything to go by, I just don't understand what's happened to the lad.
Yeah.
A lot of talk is that Nielsen doesn't have much trust in the youngsters, and I don't know if that's factual. I've not looked into it enough. I don't want to say it's true, but you've got Cochrane who's not even getting on the bench in your squad, and you've got players like young Henderson, and they've just offloaded obviously Callum Morrison, who maybe wasn't good enough, but you've got Lewis Moore, you've got a lot of youngsters there that are in a really good academy, not pushing for a starting place, and we're having to go into the transfer window and get the likes of Mackay Stephen and Janelli and strikers and bits and pieces here and there, but what are the guys in the academy doing?
For me, that needs to happen, because if there's any time to do it, it's while we're in the championship. It's give them and their kind of feed into football. Championship football will always be slightly harder, and I say slightly harder because you know yourself, it's grassroots. It's basically grassroots. So you have your rough tackles, your everything. So if there's anything to throw them in, championship football is that. And I think Henderson, you mentioned, and Cochrane will both thrive with that. If we have players that aren't doing as well, but we're just putting them in because who they are, switch it out. Put these guys, give them their their chance to either shine or not. If they have a bad game, well, that's when you take them off and then replace them with the likes of whoever you want, like Holiday or whatever. But you have to give them their chance.
Yeah.
When you go into the Premiership, their chances of getting on is less than it is right now. This is the best opportunity to give these young guys their opportunity. And as he says, I don't know why he's not doing it, but if your players aren't firing, then give the young guys, that's what they're there for. They want to make and break into the first team. So I think you're not going to get a better opportunity now, especially with the likes, as you said, the 2 defeats that we've suffered in as much games, and we've got two games coming up in quick succession. Yeah. And I think you just need to give those guys their opportunity, or they're not.
How do you feel if you're in the academy and Elliot Freer starting in front of you?
I would be very disappointed.
If he's been brought into the club and he's starting ahead of you, he's a journeyman at best. We must. Yeah, just Robert's another sort of journeyman that just seems to be coming in because he's a winger. And you've got the guys that you've mentioned. We'll let Morrison go. The other guys are sitting there, Henderson. They must be sitting going, if I'm not getting in this team now, I'm never getting in the team.
Yeah.
And you've got Connor Smith as well, who's obviously, he's only had a few appearances. I know he's 17, 18 years old, but I'm sure that he came on against
he started
Celtic
against Hibs at Easter Road
on occasions from the bench. And against 2018-19 season. And he operates in the number 10 role, which is probably what we're lacking just now. He's young. He must be hungry. Come on, these players. We're Hearts fans here. We're sitting here on the fence thinking these guys are at best stealing a wage like yesterday. And what we would do to walk a mile in their shoes, come on, to represent the Heart of Midlothian.
Oh, definitely.
We would give a lot, wouldn't we? And with relation to talking about Berra and Halkett, we have to remember that John Souttar has had a torturous time with injury, and that hopefully it's only a matter of months before he's back in training and looking to get back into that centre half role, because Pescu is not going to get anywhere near that lineup. Let's be serious. And I take it with a pinch of salt, but it's not the first time I've seen this. But I've had a lot of people compare him to Soot, and God bless his soul, but Marius Zaliukas, Captain Fantastic. When he initially joined Hearts, people had this discrimination about the way that he played. It was a bit of a time bomb, you never knew what you were going to experience with him. And that, in the experience that he got in the Scottish League, kind of dwindled out, and he became a complete different player to the player that he came on loan from. He was just like night and day and absolutely fantastic. But I've had people compare Popescu to Zaliukas in his start, and I'm absolutely sorry, but I feel like swearing just now. I'm like, no way are they in the same field. I mean, let's be serious, boys. Surely there's no comparison.
Zaliukas did have a shaky start. I remember that a couple of years probably before he actually became solid. But I mean, Popescu don't even look like a football player.
No. And every time he gets the ball, he actually is one of the only players yesterday, other than Giannelli when he came on, that wanted to move the ball forwards. However, he moves the ball forwards in a different sense. It's more, it's like what you teach 11-year-olds, and just nice and easy pass, mate. Bang! 40-yard pass right at your feet at 90 miles an hour. Sorry, mate.
No.
I can't have that. And I'm actually on the Hearts reserves website just now, and we're forgetting we've got the likes of Christopher Hamilton. Chris Hamilton, the centre half. He's on loan at Cowdenbeath just now. But
He must
I
be
mean,
another one. He must be
young
another one that's sitting
defender,
going, if I'm not getting my chance at
19-year-old.
Hearts as one of the 4 centre-backs this year, they might as well
Mhm.
leave. Like, we've just drafted in Popescu when we had a
That's it.
youngster.
And
He was captain.
I'm sure he was the captain.
Yep.
And he's been into the under-21 Scotland side. You know, these players are not going to manage to break into to sustain that level of under-21 or even push for a selection in the squads if they're not getting game time at a higher team like Hearts. Like, surely he's better than what we're watching just now.
And if he's not better, the fans would rather see it. The fans would rather see Hamilton in there giving it a go rather than some guy, Popescu, that just looks horrendous. We want to see youngsters in there. Take a gamble on them rather than a gamble on journeymen.
Yeah, 100%.
And we obviously received the bad news that Jamie Brandon got a really bad injury at training last week, which I feel for him because the game against Dundee, he was my man of the match.
Very well.
At Downs Park, he was absolutely fantastic. And I just felt that if there was ever a time for him to be, obviously Michael Smith was out, but if there was ever a time for him to be pushing for a start, it was then. And bad luck.
I feel a bit sorry for Jamie Brandon, just having Michael Smith in front of him. He's sort of never going to dislodge Michael Smith, is he? So he's one of the he's going to push and push, but until Smith goes, I can't really see him breaking in, unfortunately.
And the likes of Loic de Moor. I'm Rory. You've given me a lot of feedback on these players of how much you're disappointed in them. But I'm going to give this one to Thomas. Go on, Thomas. Give me your best.
I don't think I can really comment that much. It's one of them hard ones. I don't see how he can fit in that well into the team. To be fair.
Will he ever play for Hearts again?
No. My thing, I just...
Why is he still under the weight?
That's 100%. I can't see where I want them in the squad. So I don't see what's the point of us keeping him in the squad, as you said, and stealing the wage. You can only keep so many players. Sometimes I feel like he's keeping all these players on so that in training he at least has 22 players so that he can play 11 aside with. Because there's no other reason why you would keep them in the squad.
Yeah, and I mean, he came with a good, obviously a good repertoire coming from Cardiff City and having games under his belt there, playing in the Championship. But he's not showed anything that would show me that he's good enough to keep in a squad and loan out Harry Cochrane. And finally, when talking about the squad, Lewis Moore. What do we think is going to happen there? Do we think he's going to have another loan? Do you think it's a permanent transfer? What are we giving him?
I feel like it's going to be a permanent transfer, if I'm honest. If somebody comes in for him, I don't think Robbie Nielsen, like we said, he doesn't seem to trust the youngsters. So I think if I was Lewis Moore, I would want to go.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I'd say that he's looking like it's more going out the door on a permanent rather than another loan.
And let's get back to yesterday's game. So, what did we take out of that match that we were actually happy with? Was there a particular performance that we were pleased with? Was there something that happened in our favour?
Craig Gordon saved a penalty.
Dominated in any position.
Yeah, that's about it.
I know.
And what
I was listening to him on something as well, and he said that in his career, that's the one regret that he's got, that he could have saved more penalties. So I'm glad that Hearts are providing him the chance to do so this season.
That's it. We're just fulfilling his wish.
He's got it written in his contract that he needs at least 10 penalties this season.
And I felt personally that Ginnelly was absolutely fantastic.
Well, like Roy said, I think we started playing after 55 minutes. That's when we kind of started playing. In my eyes as well, the rest of the 49 minutes before were just nothing really. When he came on, it did change the game. We're attacking a bit more, and it showed at least promise to what we should be have seen for the start from the start.
And with respects to Roberts and Freer, we've branded them as journeymen, but Ginnelly's not too far off of being a journeyman. However, the only difference is Ginnelly has played it exceptionally well each time we've seen him, and the other two not so much. Ginnelly's now got 4 goals and 8 appearances. He's obviously one of our most lucrative players, wants to get on the ball, wants to take a player on, and his deliveries are fantastic, especially yesterday. He put Rafe under so much pressure.
Can't disagree with you. He's direct, he plays at a good tempo. I think that's important. I think a lot of players sort of lack the tempo. Every time he gets on the ball, he seems to want to make something happen, and that's definitely what the fans want to see.
And I hope that Mackay Stevens can mirror exactly what Ginnelly's doing on one side. And, yesterday was a poor game for, 99% of that team. But at times, it looked really promising. And I'm sure that as soon as he's got a few games under his belt for Hearts, and hopefully we start playing some sort of direct offensive football.
You can definitely see that Mackay Stevens there is promise there, as he says. It's only bedding into the team at the minute. I would like to think once that bedding in is complete with the likes of him and Ginnelly on the wing, will be a different side. As I said, at the minute we're not full on attack, but with them in it, we'll give that fear into the other team that, oh God, we have to actually defend. Whether at the minute they're like, oh no, it's all right, we can score against Hearts anyway. So it doesn't matter how we defend because we've got more chances of scoring just as many goals.
And going back to what Rory says, when you looked at the lineup yesterday, you felt really confident. And if you look at that lineup just now with Gordon and goal, Smith, Halkett, Berra, Kingsley at the back, Mackay, Stephen, Irvin, Halliday and Freer, Boyce and Naismith, that should be good enough for. I would be pushing top 4 in the top league. That is a really good lineup on paper. Maybe take away Halliday and put in Heron, take away Freer and add Ginnelly. Maybe even take away Berra and put Suter. That is a really, really strong lineup and should not be dismantled as easy as they were yesterday. But let's talk about that first goal.
Bit of a stramash,
what do you
wasn't
think about Rafe Rover's first goal, guys?
No, it was a good finish.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. And you knew exactly what he was going to do at that given point. We all try and emulate those when we're playing 5 and 7 aside, and when it works, it's fantastic. When it does not, you look like Balotelli when he tried it for Man City in pre-season. He gets subbed after a minute of being on the pitch. It was a great goal, and but it could have been prevented. So from that then, what can we take from yesterday's performance into our next game, knowing that it's
I think
same opponents?
Again, I think it's just we need to make those changes and commit to it. As you said there, we've got those youngsters. I think that we need to give them a chance against this. There's no better chance that they'll get because it's the same opponents. It's like, well, this is what happened on Saturday. Try and emulate, or obviously not emulate it, sorry, but try and do better. They're not going to get a chance like this. They need to win. There's no question about that. Yeah. If he goes with the same lineup as well, well, it's a point to say, well, you've done this on Saturday. Show me that you actually want to be in this lineup. If anything, if you're going to stick with the same players, you have to say that. You have to say, well, look, it wasn't good enough. We're playing them again. Do better, or else your position in the squad is, it's at risk.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the players will take. What's the word I'm looking for? They'll take a lot from that, knowing that they were so close to receiving a point. They were so close, but there'll be players that will potentially crumble under the pressure of knowing that we were dismantled in the first half. Could have been 4-0 down. What is midweek going to look like? Is my place in the starting lineup secure or is it not? So I think training for this match on Tuesday night is very important, and I feel like Robbie will either show us a different side to him, or his days if we don't get the 3 points on Tuesday.
For that, they don't actually have a lot of time to work on what they've done wrong and correct it. Obviously, today they would have had probably like training or no training at all. And then they only really have Monday to go through what they've done wrong, and it's still going to be fresh in their heads, So for me, it's the best time for them, not to think too much about it, but to ensure that you're doing better. There's no excuse of, as you said there, they're still going to be going, oh, is my place at risk? They should always think that their place is at risk. They should have enough good players there that's even sitting on the bench that going, well, if I don't play well, I know I'm going to get took off, and they're going to do just as good as me. So I think you have to have that fear. Otherwise, you just get too lazy. You go, I'll be in the starting lineup every week. Who cares? So I want to see them fight for the position in that squad, because at the end of the day, that's when you start winning games. That's you get the best out of you because if I have one bad day, I could be off. So I think that fear needs to be there.
Well, I think that fear has not been instilled in this team. I feel like they believe that they've got the league wrapped up. I think that they look at the league and give disrespect to the opponents, and that was evident in the second clash against Dundee, where they felt that they were gonna give Dundee a peltering, and sadly that wasn't the case. But I mean, we're 6 points clear at the top of the league just now. We beat Waith, that puts us in a better position. And we got to stay. We got to stay a little bit positive, haven't we? We are still top of the league, but it's just we know that when this team do get promoted, how are they going to do against a better opponent?
Look.
So who do you think deserves a chance in that team then?
If you go on.
So Tuesday night, if we're playing Tuesday night, and you were to look at what went wrong on this match and then compare it to Tuesday night's lineup, and you look at, right, well, I wouldn't play him because this player is now available. I'd play this type of formation. I want to go this kind of tempo.
Personally, if it's me,
what would you change?
I don't think there's much that you've got to change, because I'm hoping that there's big enough personalities in that squad that'll be banging on Robbie Nielsen's door this week saying, look, play me on Tuesday because we are going to rectify what happened at the weekend. You want your Andy Hallidays, you want your Stephen Naismiths, Michael Smith, Christoph Berers. They guys have got to be telling Robbie Nielsen that they will fix this. So if I was the manager, I maybe wouldn't change too much. I would maybe give the guys a chance to rectify it and see if you can get the reaction that you're looking for. Do you know what I mean? Alex Ferguson always said bounce back ability. Lose a game, gone win it in the next game. Maybe don't make wholesale changes. I don't know. Personally, I'd give them a chance, and that's it. This is it.
Of course.
Boyce has got
goals
in him.
I would continue Boyce up top as well. 7 goals and 3 assists so far. Can't complain at that. He's doing his job. Craig Whiting didn't play at the weekend. Any thoughts on Craig Whiting?
I think he's found his level. He's a championship player at best. He's a confidence player. I think you can see when he's got his confidence up. Seems like a bit of a different guy. But I mean, to be honest, I've not seen enough film and watching him since he's been here. But that might just be me.
Yeah, no. Well, for me, as you said, he's a confidence player, but not necessarily. I wouldn't want him necessarily in the starting lineup all the time. So he's not going to get that confidence. He has proved that when he comes on as a sub, that he does make more of an impact that way rather than starting a game. He hasn't always made the same impact. So for me, is he only just an impact sub then? Is he only just going to be based at, or as you said, like, are you only going to really play him in cup games, or get the hat tricks, or he can do all that kind of gear that he was doing previously. But for me, I would, not because he's Northern Irish, but Boise for me has to go over Whiting.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
100%. I agree. We all in agreement with that? Lovely. Right, okay, and moving on then. So next match on Tuesday, away to Rafe.
Go on,
Score
Thomas, you go
predictions.
first.
Yeah, well,
Thomas
I
and
would like to
Rory.
see us bounce back. Obviously, not to say that we're going to concede, but we have to. Going by previous performances, it's hard for us to keep a clean sheet. So I think we will bounce back. I think it's going to be, again, it's going to be a tight affair. So I'm thinking a 2-1 win for us.
Yeah, I can't see us keeping
Okay.
a clean sheet if we're honest.
Nice, that's
So
optimistic.
yeah, I would say I'm going to go 3-1 Hearts. I think Boyce will get a couple again, and hopefully maybe Naismith will nick one as well.
Okay. That's left to me then to give mine then. Okay, I think it will be a draw. I see us scoring,
Yeah.
but I also see us not keeping a clean sheet. Boyce is on a good run, but other than Boyce, I don't see where the goals are coming from. Maybe Naismith. But if there's no much creativity through to him, then we will struggle against a team that do like to play offensive football. Miglin has got them playing nice football, very offensive, very attacking. I'm going to go.
Nice. Can we just have an
1-1
honourable mention
draw.
for Jamie McDonald's performance as well?
Yeah, no, very good,
I know.
very good.
He's still
Wow.
got it, and he's
Incredible.
definitely still got
I mean, that's it. We're looking at this so negatively, and
Yeah.
we all respect the Rafe. They played really well, and their goalkeeper.
Yeah,
was
he
probably
definitely
their
was the man of the match for me.
And
Like,
that speaks levels.
as I said, the saves, he just played really well. You know. Yeah.
He was extremely confident too, and I think that other than the final against Hibs, the 5-1 final where we hammered them, let's never let them forget that. But other than that final, I didn't see much confidence from McDonald. In the final, he was super, super confident. That's what I'm trying to get at. But yesterday, he excelled that. He was so confident. I don't know if it was because he was playing his former team and he had a point to prove and stuff. But I mean,
Yeah, well, I thought that his career's went, he slid a bit since he's left Hearts, and he's not really kicked on like I thought he would. I thought he'd be a solid Premier League goalkeeper, but
I did too. Right. Well, let's go on to the next topic then. Before we talk about next week's episode, we wanted to go on and talk about the shirts that the shirts that are our favourite shirts. And this week we're going to go to Thomas, and Thomas is going to tell us exactly why he has an infatuation with one Heart of Midlothian shirt in particular. And each of us on the panel will have a go at telling you why we love a particular shirt.
So for me,
this week is Thomas.
It's not always a formidable shirt, but for me, it was my first ever one. It was the 97-98 home shirt. Although that year, obviously with the final against Rangers, the white shirt is synonymous with that season. Mine was always the home shirt. It was the first ever Hearts shirt that I got as a kid. Being from Northern Ireland, we didn't get, personally, I didn't get a lot of shirts, but that's what probably made this one even more special for me. But yeah, being from obviously Northern Ireland, I mentioned before, you know, you're automatically, people think that you're one of the old firm, you know. So for me, wearing the maroon, and specifically that shirt, obviously it will always be in my memory of it. Like, especially if you go towards that final, the 98 final against Rangers. I remember that day clear as, you know, as if it happened yesterday, with the likes of my friends all raking me, you know, before the match, saying, you're going to get beat this, you're going to get beat that. And, you know, for me, obviously I had the final laugh at that, but especially the first goal specifically is what I'll always remember. Watching it obviously on TV, I didn't have the ability to actually be there, but when Gary Naismith played the ball up, the Stefan Adams, he held it up, passed it to, you know, Capitano Stephen Fulton, And he eventually went on a mazy run and got brought down in the box, which some would say he wasn't brought.
Never a penalty.
The referee was kind of special that day for us, especially in the penalty award. And obviously,
Yeah.
Colin Cameron stepping up and putting it in top bins helped as well, and put us on to victory that day. But for me, that shirt will always be synonymous. It was my first prop, especially being a young kid. I was 10 or 11 at that point, and as I said, not having as much exposure as maybe you would have. Being in Edinburgh and being able to go more frequently than probably I wouldn't have had the chance to. But for me, that's why I always cherish that shirt. As I said, it is a nice shirt. Don't get me wrong. I have more favorite shirts, which I'm sure will. For me, that will always be within my heart, so to speak. There, if you want to use a pun, because it's so special to me. Because it was my first shirt. It was the year that obviously I remember because we went on beat Rangers in the cup. As I said, it was a nice shirt too. I love it when it's just not maroon. It's a wee bit of design on it too. But
I think also, the emblem on it's fantastic, isn't it? It's a really lovely effect, and even without that lovely emblem on it, it would still be a smashing shirt. It's full of compliments from me. I love it. I love the taped seams around the arms, in full sleeve. It looks fantastic. It's so modern.
I was the same. That's why
I was just about to say
sponsor too.
Yeah, a Strongbow sponsor is always going to be up there for.
Yeah, it's lovely
as well with the Hearts kits.
In relation to that year and that strip itself, how they marked up the away shirt and the one that they wore in the final too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's just basically a standard opposite shirt. And I feel like we're missing that a lot these days. I love a shirt that, on the Monday after a Sunday win, you can just put on the away shirt, and then on the Tuesday, you put on the
I always
shirt,
loved that. And specifically, the 90s were always good for that. Having it wasn't that you take the seasons where it's completely different. The away shirt compared to the home shirt. It's just like two opposite things that, like in the 90s, you would have had. It was it was just someone changed the color on it, and that was it. It was the same, which is the simplicity of it is beautiful. I think to have that kind of thing.
Yeah. So with the 2001 shirt, I think it is, in the year 2002, the only difference of the shirt is the collar itself. One was round and one was V-neck, and that for me is just epic. That whoever created that shirt design that year, they must still be making football shirts somewhere. Probably not at that level, but somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely, good stuff, Thomas. Right,
no, that's really.
Do you have anything else to add on to that one, Thomas?
For me, that's all there really is. Obviously, with the saying about the shirt and the memory I have of it, so I don't really have that much more to add.
Olympic sports as well. Okay. They never,
they
don't really stand out as a memorable Hearts kit maker, but that's definitely a classic. That one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think so completely, and I mean, I think when looking back nostalgically, obviously I would have been 4 years old then, but I still have I know the young one. I still have the memories of it. I still went to the march, the parade, the open bus parade. I still had that shirt. I had the away shirt. My family all wore it. It was very much a matching celebration. Everyone had either that home or away shirt on. It was a really, really good year for Hearts. And, the players on the pitch too. I mean, wow, it was such a great squad. And talking about our next episode, we have a special guest.
Yes, we do. Very excited,
boys. And one of those players actually lifted that trophy
there you go.
On that particular year, wearing that particular shirt. Thomas, Yeah, so next week's podcast will be inviting a guest along. And if you guys can leave us some feedback about this episode, guess who this special guest is, keep it going a little bit, that'll be really cool. And we'll obviously analyse and go over and give our feedback on the midweek game against Rafe. And we'll talk about the greatest Hearts moments in our life. And Rory is going to discuss his favourite football shirt too. So we'll round it up there, guys. I'd like to say thank you to Rory and thank you to Thomas. Three strangers coming together to make a podcast.
Yeah,
it seems to have worked really well for me. Actually, I've enjoyed it so much.
To get this and talk about this.
I think
more than anything, you're stuck here in lockdown like we are, and not much chat to anyone or socializing. So something like this, it's been a great relief, is what I would say, and it's been fantastic to talk to you and share obviously our memories and everything like that, how we started and stuff. So it's been great.
Fantastic, boys. Well, I, for one, I'm very pleased that I've managed to do this too, because lockdown has been tough. It's been tough on so many people. And when given the chance, guys, do speak out, do speak to each other. The people listening to this podcast today, get in touch with myself, Rory, Thomas. If ever you want to have a chat about Heart of Midlothian, we are, more than happy to be connected to the fans. It's a hard time for everybody, and let's make sure that we're not alone, and let's be kind to one another, and hopefully in a few weeks' time we'll get more special guests onto the podcast, including fans. I've had a lot of people who want to come on and have a chat and give their thoughts, expressions and views, which is fantastic, because we've set this up to engage with other Hearts fans, and it is for the fans at the end of the day. So
we look forward to hearing from
with you. I am fine. I get lost, so I'll follow the light to your heart. You wait for me. There's always a space in my heart. I'm still caught in your gravity. No matter the distance between us, our joy lives in the moments we share. Love's truest meaningless when you're not there. Will you wait for me? There's always a space in my heart.